On Overdrive today, we check out the sporty Tata Altroz Racer, find out how adventurous the Honda Transalp motorcycle is, and check out the long wheelbase version of the BMW 5 Series. Hello and welcome to Overdrive. I'm Soini Dutt. Tata Motors has launched a new sporty Altroz in the market. It now comes with newly tuned suspension, engine, as well as steering, with inputs from former Formula One driver Narain Karthikeyan. Here's all the action from the CoASTT Racetrack.
Now say if you want a fun car for about 10 lakhs, your options are limited, which means that this Altroz Racer might be of interest to you, and here's what's new about it. Of course, Tata Motors has toyed with this idea many times before. There have been numerous go faster Indica prototypes, but these remain just that. That was until the Tiago and Tigor JTPs from 2018. These were genuinely lively and promised a lot, but were probably not the right formula to go about this idea on a mass scale. With the Altroz Racer, Tata Motors has made a serious effort again. It's roped in Narain Karthikeyan, who's helped develop a unique engine, suspension and steering tune for this car. A sportier exhaust note as well as a new hydraulic clutch have been added too. The engine in question is a 1.2-litre turbo petrol from the Nexon, which puts out 120 PS and 170 Nm, pairing with a 6-speed manual. As you can see, I'm driving this Altroz Racer pretty hard out on the coast circuit, and it's quite clear that all the changes that have been made to the chassis have made it a much better driving car than what the regular Altroz was. For example, you find that the chassis itself, that alpha architecture, we always felt that it had a lot of potential, and a lot of that has been unlocked here. It feels reassuring, it feels confident, and this engine, of course, the outputs are quite substantial for what it is, but you also realize that in the way that it's delivered, the power, the performance, you have that torque right off idle, which powering out of corners like this over here, it really makes for easy, quick driving. And then coming to the steering and the suspension setup, you realize that quite well suited. The steering at these higher speeds feels really quite direct, a lot more than the regular Altroz. There's no slack that the regular Altroz suffered from, at least not apparent here at these higher speeds. It's got a good degree of heft to it, so you can place it where you want on track. Despite running drum brakes at the rear, the Altroz Racer also feels confident under heavy braking. Now realistically, you won't be driving your Altroz Racer on track all that often, and in the real world, all these changes have actually made the Altroz just an all-round better car to drive in more or less most aspects. To start with, this new clutch is a great help. It's much lighter and progressive than before, although the action is still a bit sharp sometimes, so at low speeds you do have to release it a bit carefully, but other than that, it's actually very less effort. So even though we've been driving in traffic for about an hour now, our foot doesn't hurt that much. This 6-speed gearbox, also quite unlike Tata cars, is actually quite nice to use. Now the ride too helps. Yes, it feels a touch firmer still than the regular Altroz. So you do notice that bigger potholes, they sort of kind of thud through, and you do sometimes feel them, but it must be said that it's rounded off well. Now in keeping with all of this, this engine, this 120 PS tune, the specific tune for the Racer, is also very well judged for regular use. Tata Motors has kept things subtle on the outside for the Altroz Racer. You get some bright dual-tone paint options and the stripes that already go with the Altroz's smart looks. But we would have also liked some more aggressive bumpers and vents like the JTP cars had. Now the Altroz has been around a while, but it must be said that the design still remains contemporary with these sort of flowing surfaces, these sort of concave finishes, this floating effect to the center, this arrangement here. It still looks like it's right up to date. And given that this is a slightly older car, you still get physical controls for the AC, which is a good thing to have considering the Nexon and the Harrier have moved to a fully capacitive touch panel here, more or less. Now for the Altroz Racer, you realize that you have this all black theme, and again it works well. Of course, it sort of makes the space feel a bit more cocooned, but it's not that big a deal, especially with these orange highlights. They pop, they give you that pop of brightness. The Racer, along with the broader Tata Altroz range, now also gets more features. You have the new 10.2-inch touchscreen from the Nexon, which continues to be crisp and fluid in its operation, seen here in a new color palette. The wireless Android Auto Apple CarPlay function works seamlessly too. You get the smaller 7-inch driver display setup from the Nexon's mid variants here, which is again easy to use and offers a good deal of information, although the segmented rev counter makes it difficult to know your exact engine speed at times. Other notable features include ventilated seats, an air purifier, wireless charging, connected tech and auto headlamps and wipers. Safety continues to be a strong suit. The Altroz has been rated 5 stars earlier, and you now get 6 airbags as standard, ESP and a clear 360-degree camera system with blind view monitors. Now that good practicality, of course, you remember those 90-degree doors which were a big talking point for the Altroz. They're still there. And with this Alpha architecture, you still have that flat floor or nearly flat floor. So it just immediately gives you a good sense of space at the back. Now, you'll notice that knee, leg and headroom is also par for the course in this segment. It's not the biggest car here. Maybe something like the Baleno is probably bigger in the back, but it's comfortable. So for me at least, I have enough headroom. Maybe someone taller than me will find it difficult with the way the roof is scooped out. And the bench too is wide enough for 3 people. It's slightly flat in that regard, but it's effective in carrying more people. Starting at Rs 9.49 lakh, the Tata Altroz Racer packs a good deal of engagement for the price. The engine is responsive, and while the gearbox could still be better, the Altroz Racer's big achievement is the fluid and agile chassis that makes it a fun experience on track and on road. Pair this with a comfortable cabin and strong features, and you finally have a fun Tata car that might do enough to bring the enthusiasts in.
Well, Tuin not only got to drive at the course track, but he also got to ride shotgun with Narain Karthikeyan himself. You can check out that video on our YouTube channel. We'll be back shortly to tell you all about the newly launched Honda Transalp motorcycle.